I mean, the whole reason I agreed to become a DUNE mentor was that, I knew I was going to move on to be an assistant professor very soon. So I was like, well, I need more cycles of mentorship. Yeah, so we had two students, Isabella and Miriam. I was in charge directly of, Miriam's work, and then my colleagues, Yukui and Kwa were co-mentoring Isabella. And between the three of us, we came up with two projects that I think were really well suited to them and gave them opportunities to contribute something useful to the lab. The thing that was most valuable for me was having people who are working full time and then having that experience of what do I do? How do I make them productive? And how do I make my time worthwhile? The time that I spent mentoring them worthwhile scientifically. And so every day, so I kind of established a routine with them every morning, like do a quick check-in. What do you have on your docket for the day? And I let them try to come up with it on their own. But then usually I would give some sort of feedback and be like, okay, I like that idea, but how about instead today you work on this? And then I had to kind of let go after that check-in because I didn't want to spend the whole day with them, right? That was I think my big concern with initially with taking on these students that because previous students I'd mentored, they didn't spend full time with me and they asked me a lot of questions. So I was deeply concerned that, they'd be asking me questions all the time in my office. And, um, I established some protocols telling them like, go to Google first, think about it first, talk to your colleagues, and then make a list. And if you have questions, then come ask me. So now that I'm starting my lab here, I have some of those protocols, ready to go. In Miriam's case, I was directly supervising. I had her look at cells in the nerve. They're called nerve fibers. And what we're really interested in is precisely targeting, these different nerve fibers with electrical signals. And to do that, it's really helpful to know like the anatomy of these individual nerve fibers in the nerve. So I had Miriam image a bunch of nerves and then use an AI-based tool to pull out the anatomy to extract that anatomical information. So over the course of the summer, she managed to segment all of the nerve samples that I had for a particular type of nerve, cervical vagus nerve. She didn't have the skill set to like program out the things that I needed on her own, but she had enough understanding to help me design and test out some code-based tools that were needed to use this AI tool. So in the beginning, we spent a lot of time together, kind of going back and forth, and so she kind of helped to move things along in that way and test things out. And then in the kind of second half, she did a lot of the legwork of actually like extracting the data and doing some initial analysis. That work, it's not published yet, but I'm drafting that manuscript right now, and yeah, I'm expecting to acknowledge, Miriam's contribution on that on that work. So that was really helpful. It saved me, tens of hours of having to do it myself. Having two was I think much easier than having one. You can't be alone with them, and so that makes it really really hard to coordinate someone to always be in the room with the students. And it has to be two adults like within earshot. So having two students was great because we only really needed one adult, and it was in like a busy lab area where there was always someone there. So at least one person there at all times. And I had them collaborate on a couple of different projects. Initially, they were working on each other's project simultaneously. So that I think was also a huge benefit, so socially and scientifically for both of them.